Customized spells in a TTRPG like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons is not something that comes out of the box standard. This is something that flies in the face of the Vancian magic that those games base their spellcasters on. Most spellcasters, wizards, and sorcerers in these games get so many spells per day based on the level, thus the relative strength of the spell, cast it, and once they cast it, it kind of the memory goes away. That's the narrative behind it. It's so hard to remember and keep in their head. Once they cast it, it's gone. And in newer versions, they've made it so that you can memorize the same spell more than one time. It can take up that additional slot. If you wanted something more like Ars Magica or World of Darkness, Maids of the Ascension, Maids of the Awakening, where it's a customized, on-the-fly sort of spell, there's really not a way to do it efficiently or effectively in a game like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There was a book that was put out in the early 2000s, Monte Cook's World of Darkness. He did a lot of work on 3 and 3.5, and then went on to do Cypher System, but he had brought the World of Darkness over to the D20 system, and as such, there were rules for the types of mages that World of Darkness, Mage the Ascension, was known for. Spells were built on, as you see behind me here, a number of components. Range, number of targets, the effect, damage. All those items were considered components, and they might name them different things, but these component parts are what the spell was made of. And those components had a spell cost in mana points. That was the term they used. Now, I know a lot of D&D players and Pathfinder players cringe at the thought of using mana points. It's one more thing to keep track of. It's not more to keep track of these than it is a spell slot, spells per day, or hit points. This is definitely a viable option. The question, of course, is whether it's the only option or the best option. I think it may be, because how else are you going to come up with, you can cast so many spells on the fly, and those spells are X powerful based on your level. I am sure there is some weird math you could do based on level and spells per day. You can cast X number of spells that are up to this many points and X number of spells that are up to this many points. But that doesn't really go with the flow of that spontaneous, customized magic. This was originally proposed by Ohio Fry Guy, who's tagged below, and I promised I might take a look at it. I finally got around to doing so, and I thought I'd bring it out here for others to go ahead and comment on. So let me know your thoughts below. Do you know another way you would do it? Or are you one of the people who absolutely no way Vancian magic is the way to go when you're playing D&D or Pathfinder? And keep in mind that when you look at the books that served as sources for those games, most of those actually don't use Vancian magic, not the sources. Only one really does. So I see you again. Remember to be well, be safe, and be awesome both to yourself and one another.